Pony just keeps moving up here today. No, non-stop. Trading at 948, got room to about 1130. Smart keeps coming down. Let's see, we can't get above the VWAP and stay there, so every time it gets above it, it just falls right below it again. No confirmation of the VWAP, and just moving down, just steadily coming down on the SPY. Again, took some Campbell soups, which is actually not coming down with the market right now, which means it does not have the relative weakness it had earlier, but again, I'm going to give this thing some time. Pepsi, also, well, just kind of moving sideways. SPY right there, red for the day, Q's red for the day. Back below the pivot point on the Q's. Morning, WMB. Good morning. Choppy, weak market this morning. It's bearish, but it's choppy. See the SPY just drifting down. We took some Campbell soup short. It's bouncing back up toward the VWAP right now. Still like it's short. We got next week's puts on this. And we're still in Pepsi short, which is up just a bit this morning. Still bearish on the daily chart. Tesla red by about 3% right now after a big move up to the 200-day moving average. Tesla's got to have get up as high today as 295, almost 295. It's down about 19 points since the open. There's this price action right here. SPY coming, oops. SPY coming down below the pivot point now. Let's see if that holds. Campbell Soups with a bounce up right up toward the VWAP. Again, we're short this Campbell Soup. Let's all of a sudden get relative strength to the market. Ooh, coming in pretty hard. Hey, Doug. In hindsight, there appears to be a SPY super system. The SPY put entry. However, when it occurred, there would have been a pullback to the 15 EMA and stopped out. There would have been a big loss. What am I missing? Entry. You can see if this the only SPY super system entry. This you can't trade this. This is just garbage here. This back above and below. Now we've broken down here, below the 15 right here. So I mean, this theoretically would be a SPY super system trade here. Pretty big candle though, pretty big candle. But this was definitely a decent short, except you had the pivot point right here, which is I haven't touched any of these. So you know, this was a decent one. Some of these other ones, I mean, not so much. You know, this broke below the 15 here, but then closed right up at it. So I'm not sure which candle you're talking about. Yeah, it would have been a big loss if it pulled back to the 15. That's the problem with chasing big candles. I mean, you could have taken it here, you could have taken it here as it moved back. But again, this is very, very tricky here this morning. And again, you had a pivot point below here, so it's not something I would take. You just didn't. There was just too much likelihood of support being found right here. So that's why I said I haven't been touching any of those today. The breakout bar. You hear you talking about? I mean, that was the breakdown right there. This theoretically could have been considered a breakdown here as well. But again, there was no pattern here to trade. We're fairly bearish right now, so I think any kind of a run up, once we get up to the pivot point again and maybe the 15 and come back down, you probably could short it, but I'm not going to touch it right now. I just don't feel comfortable with it at all. Yes, it's high risk. And even without the pivot point, it's high risk. The thing is that when the candles are large like this, I mean, if you catch them if you get in right down here, this little bounce here would have you freaking out, most likely. I mean, you're going to be down quite a bit of money, and then it turns around and heads back down again. Then you'd be fine. I mean, if it went down to the pivot point, you could have taken a profit, but it's not easy when you're jumping in on these big candles. And again, with the pivot point right there, I'm not going to touch it. And PONY keeps going. Pony. Again, it's a Momo stock, trading up 46% here this morning.
here's a quick market update. The Dow down spot 1.6%, S&P down spot 6%, the Nasdaq down 1.1%. We are seeing continued weakness in markets following those comments earlier in the news desk by ABC in regards to the China Foreign Ministry comments. So we are seeing continued weakness following those comments to lows of the day.
Saw. When I see my short, like Campbell Soup, gain quite a lot of strength in the M5, do you just mainly focus on the D1? Yeah, that's what I mean. I got it set up with next week's expiration. Anything I take typically can be a swing trade, and I'm not going to dump it right now. Again, it did gave some relative strength to the market, but the daily chart is still very bearish. So unless I'm intraday trading something, but I'm not intraday trading. I mean, if I can get out for a profit, I'll take it, but I'm not intraday trading it right now. Yeah, like MSTR at Tesla. If I'm going to take MSTR and Tesla, those things are very volatile. So you have to size it so that you can withstand any kind of the pullback that you might expect, or the move against you that you might have to anticipate. Like Tesla, I'm not going to touch right now. It hit the 200, it's pulled all the way back. It's got the 50, not too far below. It's right fairly close to support, so I don't touch it. But yeah, on things like that, Tesla, I'll usually just day trade. If I'm swing trading it, it's likely I'm just going to take a really small position in it and go out a couple of weeks, but it's very expensive. But typically, right now I'm not swing trading. So on Tesla, you have to really just size it properly, because you can get some fairly brutal moves in it. Same thing as MSTR. When I trade those intraday, yeah, I'm gonna, if I'm taking Tesla short and it starts to go against me and it starts gaining relative strength, I'm gonna get out of the trade. CPV is different. It's not very expensive. It doesn't move a lot. It's got a good short daily chart. I don't have a problem holding on to it for a while. Got what you needed?
I got what I needed. Hey.
I'm eating a muffin. There's Alfie looking
I
over here.
got my car wash.
You get your car wash? Oh, where'd you go?
Oh, to the one by the public.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I went through there, I didn't think they did a good job at all.
Mine looks a lot better than, it was
came home healthy just to see you. Yeah. You're such a good boy. Huh? Such a good boy. You're such a good boy.
He is such a,
You need some help hauling that crap out of the car?
yeah, it's light stuff.
Oh.
Got allergies today.
Yeah, I had to take Mucinex. Pat's Nation. Oops. Pat's Nation talking about on a drop like this morning with Pepsi showing relatives. Well, it's actually showing relatives. It was actually showing some relative strength this morning to the market. Does this concern you, or is it just M5 noise? Well, listen. The key here with Pepsi is we're in it till Friday, right? And what we get in it based on the daily charts. Look at the daily chart. It's still bearish. See this big move down here off of earnings, big move. This comes up, it hits this resistance level right here, pulls back again, and so I'm still short this thing. And I'm a little concerned about this line down here. I didn't have that on when I actually took the trade. So that's when it gets down around there, I'll watch it more closely. But this is still a bearish. This is still a bearish setup, and so is Campbell Soup. It's Campbell Soup. That's a bearish setup in the daily chart, which is what I focus on. I said I focus on daily chart unless I'm doing just a quick intraday trade on the indexes, SPY, Qs, IWM, or any of the futures. But when I'm trading in it, I'm going out and expecting to keying off of the daily chart, then yeah, I have to give I gotta give the 5-minute chart. I gotta give it plenty of space to bounce around and breathe a little bit. Yeah, I knew you meant relative weakness. And relative strength on Pepsi. Yep, I knew you meant relative strength for Pets. Again, when you get into a trade based on the daily chart, then that's what you should be using to get out of the trade. Except once you've made a decision that you're going to exit it for a profit or for a loss, then you would use your 5-minute chart to get your best exit. But typically, if the daily chart is bearish and I'm short it, I'm going to stay in it until it proves otherwise. Yeah, Doug, you're talking about you excelled in engineering, but retired kid, hard to make money consistently in the SPY. It's been very difficult this last few weeks, last couple of months because of the chop in the SPY and because you're trading with news. News is a big wild card in the market, and when the news is driving the market, it's much more difficult than when the technicals are driving the market. And you know, engineering is a very exacting science. Um, but but stock trading is not an exacting science. It's a science and an art. But the thing is, there's so many there are so many variables that go into the market that you can't take it. You just can't take all of them into consideration. It's impossible. There's too many things that you don't know what's going to happen. News happens. There's just crazy things happen in the company and in the market and the stock itself, and so you're trying to trade the very best you can off of that. And I think what we've got for indicators are extremely good, and they typically work very well. But you're never going to get 100% setups or 100% wins in the market. The market is, when you're engineering something, you do it, and it's done precisely. You know exactly what's going to happen. It's all the calculations are done mathematically, and they're perfect. You typically don't get a lot of variations. In the market, you can be exact with what's going on. It just takes one little rumor or one little piece of news that sends the market into a tailspin or a big move up, and you can't predict those kind of things. So you can't build any of that into any kind of a formula that you've got. So what we do is we do the very best we can with following the institutions, because the institutions typically are telling us what's going on. No, I know nobody expects 100%, Doug. I didn't think you were expecting 100%. But I'm just saying you're going to get a lot of variations in wins and losses depending on the market. And when you get choppiness like this, it's really, really hard. And we've had a terrible trading market. I keep saying this. I have been saying this since middle of December. How difficult this market is to trade. Why we've had so few swing trades. Why super system trades? I didn't take very many last week. I mean, I've had to cut way back on the number because there's no follow through. There's too much chop, and one of the keys is to be able to identify that, and when you have a trendless market, to stay out of it. It's frustrating because you don't get to trade, and so a lot of times you end up taking trades that you shouldn't trade because you get bored. And I know it's frustrating. Everybody wants to make money. Everybody wants to trade. A lot of times trading and making money don't happen at the same time. So you have to avoid the trades when the market isn't giving you setups. Just a lot of chop here right now. Yeah, the market pulled down pretty hard here, right through the pivot point. We're coming right back up toward it again. Definitely bearish market intraday, but this is still very, very choppy. The only thing I'm in right now is candle soup, and it's just kind of chopping around the VWAP. PONY has been a decent momentum stock here. A lot of mixed candles here. 3 greens, 3 reds to the downside, then a couple of greens, and a couple of reds, and a green, and a red. Just very, very choppy. Still watching candles. Starting to pull back down. Again, I'm just not doing much here today. Just watching the market chop around. Been a few decent shorts. Tesla was a good short off the 200-day moving average this morning. But right now it's fairly close to support. Google's been a good short. But you have to ride these things. There's a lot of mixed candles in all these trades. Oh, 2 minutes to 12 here, coming on to lunch, coming up to 12 o'clock. Market down. SPY down about half a percent right now, 0.56. Triple Q's down 0.92. Triple Q's almost twice as weak as the SPY is. And IWM down only about 0.2%. So the IWM, the Russell 2000, actually a little stronger than the overall market, but SPY pretty weak. And Q's very, very weak. And Tesla down about 3% today. Nvidia is down about 3.5%. Microsoft down about 1%. Apple, which reports earnings this week, On Thursday, also down about 0.6%. So the techs are pretty weak. Meta down just 0.5%. Bitcoin, the coin is down 3.65% today. HYPOTHETICAL down 1.68. Grayscale Bitcoin, BTC down about 1.7. So crypto's down, techs are down, pretty strong, pretty weak. Banks holding their own. Pretty flat. Bank of America just down 2 cents. Morgan Stanley down about 0.4%. So nothing too exciting there.
On SOPH, Sophia Genetics announcing expanded collaboration with AstraZeneca to accelerate liquid biopsy testing globality from AACR.
Colgate down this morning, Kraft down this morning. A lot of the consumer defensive stocks are down, which is kind of surprising in this down market. Typically, that's where folks go for relief when the market is getting very bearish, but that's not happening right now. KHC coming in, Colgate coming in. That's when we had for a nice time spread last week. Fine, coming in again. Ari, you started Pepsi yesterday on the 10-20 candle. Like that, what broke the support from January and broke down from compression in April after earnings. Mm-hmm. You size trades using a fixed 1% of my capital and adjust position based on my stop trade idea. Okay. In this case, the high of yesterday, is this a good approach? Well, I mean, just on, if you're talking about just on Pepsi, if you're looking at the high of Friday, there's a resistance level on Pepsi at 135.56. And that's you can see that it's right on that line. But that's what I would use for it would have to close above there for me to get out. And even then, it's going to be bearish. I mean, it could go out halfway up this red candle here and still be bearish, still below the 50-day moving average. But since I got expiration this week, I wouldn't let it go that far. But that's what I'd be looking at. And that's fine. That's what you want to. You want to have a plan. I mean, when you go into it, you want to have a plan, and you want to stick to the plan. But you want to make sure you're not trading off of a percentage loss or dollar loss. You want to be trading off the technicals on the chart. Lots of trades on Google today. Yeah, there's a lot of people shorting Google. It's pretty weak. This is the Google chart right here. There's been a lot of trades in Google, and you can see why. Broke down below the 50, went up above the 50, broke below it, and it did get through this this support level right here. And this morning, this is kind of where it's trading, but trading off of the 50-day on the way down. That's where the trade's at. That folks trading Tesla too at this point, but I wouldn't touch it here. It's much too close to support. I wouldn't touch it short here at all. SPY heading down. SPY still drifting down here. Coming down below the 15, below the pivot point. Decent little setup right there off of this compression break. And if you're taking any of these, you probably don't want to give them too much room, because there's been a lot of, I mean, unless you just want to hold them all day, thinking the SPY's going to continue down. But for me, if I'm taking a trade here, I'm going to get out of any kind of a green candle on the back to going back the other way, and then take a look at it later. This Campbell Soup drifting back down below the VWAP again, and Pepsi coming down a little bit. Jeff, on my
Commentary out by Gasper.
Jeff asking.
Business News says breaking on tariff talks to hold up in the China tariff deal is the level of commitment to buy oil from the Alaska pipeline. What color on that in the news desk?
Jeff asking about on my high volume lines or high volume bars that I color 1.5, 1.2, 1.5. How far do I go back when I look? I'm really just looking for a number of touches. You know, the ones that are relatively earlier typically have more impact, but a lot of times you have to go way back if you're in an area where there isn't any. But typically I'm looking at the closer ones. But I keep them on there quite a ways back. And a lot of times you can extend them back and find out how many touches you got. A lot of times you'll find one that hasn't hit recently, but you're getting close to it. And you go back and 2 years and you see that level was hit 4, 5, 6 times. And so I give more credence to that. If it's just one 3 years ago without any other corresponding matches for that level, then I don't give those that much credence. Cable not going much for it. Hasn't done much. We're just about what we paid for it. Pony's been just kind of drifting around here now, kind of compressing. Again, if you take SPY short here, you got to be out here. This is the kind of trading day we've got right now. You can take a trade, but you can't stay in them very long. The market's going down unless you're planning on staying in it all day and just assuming we're going to be short here. But if you do that, you want to go out to at least a Tuesday or Wednesday on the SPY for your shorts, so that you can withstand some of this move. I'm not doing anything like that right now. You get too much stuff going on. We've got a lot of news, tariff news. We've got that could come at any point, and then we've got quite a bit of earnings coming up now this week. Really hot, big tech this week, Microsoft this week, Amazon this week, Meta this week. So a lot of big ones. Nvidia down about 3.5% today. Joe trading gold, GLD with a runner. Yeah, bounced back up again pretty nicely today. Up about almost a full percent right now. In at 320, out at 550, pretty nice. Looks like you caught most of that move right there. All right, I'm gonna get some lunch here in a couple of minutes, about 12:22, another 5 minutes. I'll shut down the YouTube feed and go ahead and get some lunch. And I want to thank everybody from YouTube here today. I appreciate it. Appreciate you being in the room. And you just go to rightline.com. You can take a look at the room I've got in the alert service, as well as the software that I use, which is this SPY Super System right here. Very, very useful. There's the SPY coming back down again. You can notice it's been red here. Decent entry right here. Kind of a big red candle and a little bit of a bounce, but this was a pretty decent short as it broke down right here. Off of this compression, breaks down below the 15. 2 candles and you're out. It's coming back down again now though. Definitely short today in the market. The market is definitely bearish. SPY still coming in here. I took a few SPY puts here just for a short time, short trade, a short-term short trade. right, I'm gonna get some lunch. I just took profits in my SPY. I just wanted to just take a quick trade in that. If I wasn't going to lunch, I'd probably stay in it for a bit here, but I just took profits in. I get in at 256 and I get out at 286. So made about $30 a contract on that. I'm gonna get some lunch. So again, thanks everybody for YouTube for being here today. I appreciate that. And I'm gonna go ahead and close it down so I can get some lunch. And we'll see everybody in YouTube tomorrow about 11 o'clock. Have a good afternoon.